Thank you for tuning in to the Panda Bear Magic Podcast. A small reminder, please reach out to a loved one because you never know what someone is going through. This is Rahana from the Panda Bear Magic Podcast. Today I have a special guest, Nisi Harrel. Yeah, Nisi Harrel. And she is from Twerk N Fab. This is a kind of twerking culture / fitness movement that she has created in the fitness industry. And I wanted to bring her on today to talk a little bit about her journey that has led up to creating this beautiful movement for women and all people who are interested in moving their body and shaking it in a different kind of way. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. So I just wanted to talk, maybe let's start a little bit about your background.
Yeah, I grew up here in Oregon. So my family moved here from like kind of Texas and Minnesota area, and mom went to high school out here, and my dad was from LA.
Okay.
Met her from out here and raised us mostly like in the suburb area. Lived in the city a little bit, but when you're from Portland, you just all of Portland.
It's smaller than people think.
So I got like a little bit of like that outdoor person in me, I think. So just kind of connecting with the land and the people is like my thing.
Absolutely. Is that part of your culture as well?
Yeah, it is. My mom is Mexican, indigenous, and my dad is Black. And kind of that Texas area was like very heavy indigenous Apache over in that side of the world at the time. That was Mexico, not the United States.
Yes.
If you know your history. And we grew up Catholic, but with that kind of Mexican culture more so, even though I think more Black to people, they're always like surprised when they're like, oh, wait,
I think you
can speak
beautiful.
A little Spanish. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was just kind of like my background, is like being in that kind of culture of family, regardless Black, Mexican, it was just like family culture. Absolutely. Was pretty heavy. So
yeah. And I know we talked a little bit earlier, you said your grandma was a healer.
Yeah, she was a healer. She learned from her grandmother, so it was like really my great grandmother. And so if you're Mexican, you ever been prayed over with the egg, like you know what I'm talking about. It's the old school healing. Yes. And so yeah, that just kind of I think got passed down to my mom and to me, and just kind of how we look at self-care and health is very different than I think traditional medicine. So that was kind of like my upbringing. Food, that was a big thing. Definitely like healing through food.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think people are coming back to that now.
I think so too.
Slowly but surely realizing the old ways have kind of been around for a reason.
Yep, eating for your DNA. That was like like a thing that people know now and recognize, and I think that's why you're drawn to certain like foods.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was just kind of a part of me, and I think why I wanted to be in kind of health and fitness and just kind of like helping and healing people, because it was just something that was around me all the time. At the time I didn't realize having to be in the kitchen or being around and helping, my grandma when certain people were sick was like a thing, and I didn't know, why. I just knew that's what you did.
Exactly. And it worked, right?
It worked, yeah.
Exactly, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So as far as like that healing field, you went into the massage field.
Yeah,
because you wanted to help heal people in a different way.
Yeah, and at first you think like medical, and then I realized I can't do blood. Like blood smells are not good for me. I can't do it. And then I just kind of stumbled upon like a school for massage when I was looking, and they also had personal training there, and I was like, okay, one of these might kind of be my thing. And it was one of those experiences where you go there and you feel like this is where you're supposed to be, even though I was like, I couldn't imagine touching someone's feet. Like I was not a personal space person. I was like, I don't want to touch people, but it just felt so natural. And once I started, like, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I ran with it, and I've had a very successful business for over 16 years in massage therapy. Yeah.
And so do you think that the healing through your family lineage has probably helped with that?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
turning into energy work.
Yeah. Before my grandmother passed, like that, she was so like proud of me, and she didn't speak a lot of English very well, but she was like, telling me in translation that, that this is in your blood. This is what you're supposed to do, is like heal and pray over people. And, she was really happy for me. and thought like this is something that you can make a huge impact on people's lives and helping them through your touch. And so that made me feel like extra proud to do what I was doing.
There's very many people out there that don't like massage or being touched. I mean, there are a few.
Yeah.
You know, but I think it's healing in so many ways.
Oh, yeah. And I think like just specifically in Black or like POC cultures, like we need that even more. And that kind of came from us, yet we don't use it enough in our own lives to take care of ourselves. So, you know, that's why I think it's important for me to be, you know, in my community, helping my community in that way, and just kind of encouraging them to take care of their bodies because it's super powerful. And Black bodies hold so much, you know, and I think that feeling like somebody can safely help you and guide you through your trauma in your body is super important.
Yeah. And the historical and generational trauma behind all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's in there. It stays. It doesn't go.
Yeah, we
go
have
away
to release
just like
it.
that. Yeah.
So you got into massage and you were starting to teach fitness classes as well.
Yeah, and that kind of started just because I was unhealthy, and that was just a long story. Just like bad situations, bad relationship, not taking care of myself, pouring into my kids and you know my partner at the time more than myself. And then I realized it made massage hard because I had gained so much weight. I wasn't very strong anymore like I had used to be. I was pretty athletic growing up. So I started taking dance classes, taking Pilates classes, and I was like, I love this so much. And everybody's like, you're such a good dancer. You should teach. And I was like, okay.
Yes.
So I just started teaching. I just started teaching dance, Pilates, and that led me down the path to yoga, which kind of came full circle back into energy work, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So it's just been this like perfect matchup of like health and fitness for me at this time in my life. So
good. And so when you were started teaching the fitness classes, have you always been into the twerk culture as well?
I mean, like I was self-taught, like watching Janet Jackson on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like back when, you know, all the channels used to actually play music videos. Yeah. So it was like, yeah, I'm going to learn how to dance. And so I kind of self-taught. And it was always a part of just kind of my culture too, even growing up in a Mexican household. Like we danced, like that's what we did. And just kind of moving your body, moving your hips. I used to love to like watch belly dancing and like all sorts of stuff. And kind of twerk was a thing before people called it twerk.
Yes.
You know, it was just like booty popping.
Yes.
Shaking that ass. Like that was just kind of a thing. And it's so fun.
Yes.
And, you know, being out here in Oregon, everybody acts very like it's like taboo to shake your ass and like make it clap. And I'm like, I like it though.
Exactly. And if it makes you feel good, that's your self-care.
Yeah, it really does. And so I was like, you know, I want to take classes like that. You know, if they had dance classes out here like that, that'd be great. And there was not really anything that I could find. The closest thing was hip hop classes. And so just kind of talking about that, like with my friends and people who were my students, they're like, why don't you just teach your own class? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it and see how it works out. And I had never choreographed before, so I was super nervous, but it just came together. Yeah. And like music just moves you, you know, like it just inspires you to move your body, and it just kind of manifested into like this fun booty shaking like experience that eventually became like kind of a body positive, body empowering kind of class just on its own.
And can you explain kind of like what the body positivity and the body empowerment is a little bit if people don't know?
Yeah. So I know for me personally, just moving my body in that way, feeling like confident, feeling sexy, feeling like good in my body, even like embracing the jiggle and all that good stuff. Look, embrace the jiggle thing.
Embrace the jiggle.
Embrace the jiggle. Like I was just like, oh, you can't be like frowning and your butt just clapping. Like nobody can frown and shake their ass. Like that's just weird. So it just became like just this feel good thing. And because of like embracing that jiggle, it just kind of became embracing your body and how your body is and how it's moving. Because I mean, out here, you know, not a lot of people look like you and have that same body type, and that body type is considered, you know, fat, unhealthy or whatever. And I was like, I'm a pretty healthy, happy person. And, you know, I can move in this way and it feels good for my body. And so that kind of became a thing for everybody, regardless of what size they were, just moving in that way, I noticed made people feel super empowered and really good about themselves. You know, taking something that is looked at as, you know, ratchet or whatever, but made it like fun and made it accessible too. Because like sometimes you'd see that stuff on TV or whatever, and like they're just these perfect bodies, you know, perfect booties doing these kinds of moves. And then to feel like, oh shit, I can do this too and feel good. It just took off. Like it just became its own thing.
I think a lot of times people look at stuff that they don't understand. And like, I want to do that, but then they just judge it because they're not doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, why don't you just try it and see if you like it?
Yes. You know? And you know, you can't like fake that. Like it just, you're in it and you feel it. You can't fake it. Like even when I first started my classes, you know, people would come to class and I was kind of nervous, like, what would that draw? Like what kind of people would that draw? Because if you've ever done dance studio stuff, like I'd only taken a few dance studio classes as an adult, and like it can be intimidating. Like people are just like hitting it, pop, 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 and it's like all the counts, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and they're so good, and there's just the front row divas, and I was like, you know, I don't want to bring that vibe into my class. And I remember a mentor of mine told me, like, you just teach and from who you are. Like your own personality is going to show through, and you're going to kind of draw those same types of people in that will match your energy.
Absolutely.
And sure enough, like people would come to my class, think they're going to be the shit. Like I'm just this bad bitch. And it's like, that's not what my class was about. And so they kind of just fell off, and it kind of drew more of the people who were really feeling that real experience of being empowered and not worrying about looking the best or being perfect, but just being in that space with all these beautiful other bodies. Just you feel like you're killing it, like you're a Chris Brown backup dancer. Like it just became a thing.
So as far as people, if they feel intimidated to take one of your classes, what kind of like encouragement or tips do you give them?
You know, I first tell people don't wear compression pants, because you can't feel a shake if you're wearing really tight pants. So clothes matter. You know, the whole idea of like faking it till you make it. Like, so it's like put something on that you feel good in, that you feel like confident in and comfortable in, and just and introduce yourselves to people too, by the way, because some people just like don't say anything. So I encourage my students like to talk to each other and introduce themselves. So you'll come to my class, you'll be a new face. Someone will probably recognize that and come and say hi to you.
Okay, that's really
you know
good.
So it's pretty cool. Like they just kind of are welcoming on their own.
It breaks the ice as well.
Yeah, it really does. And just like, you know, don't worry about how you're moving. Don't judge your body. Don't judge nobody else's body. Everybody's looking at me. Nobody's looking at everybody else in the class, because we're here to learn, you know? And so I think when people realize like, okay, all eyes are not on me, that it's okay. And like, you have this permission to move in that way, it just breaks that wall.
Absolutely. I think sometimes people feel that with like fitness centers or community centers, because they have the big mirrors on the wall and they're like, oh, and you're looking at yourself, you think everyone else is looking at you.
You always
it's
think
not about that.
Yeah.
It's about moving your body.
It's like, no, nobody's looking at you, everybody's looking at me. You know, I always tell them, and don't worry about it. And then once we kind of build that confidence and we're getting it down, and I tell people like add their own swag, add their own like style or flavor, then I'm like, check yourself out in the mirror, like you are a bad bitch. And like they start to do that, like you'll notice like the progression of people being in the back, not looking at themselves, to like wanting to be towards the front, be in the mirror. And like I always say, look back at it, you know, like they just look back, watch your booty shake. Like it's just fun.
I can see that like progression that you're talking about. Yeah,
and it's beautiful. Like if you look back even in my old videos and find a student that still takes my classes, you'll see the progression even from how they'd move their body just through being confident. And it's amazing.
So what expectations do you tell them not to have or have?
Just no judgments of your body, no judgments of your neighbor's body. Just come in and expect to have a good time. You know, give yourself permission to move and find that kind of like happiness and joy in moving your body. I think that's super important. Just kind of let go of what you think twerk is.
Oh, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you had like any people like want to do one-on-one sessions with you, and do you do parties?
Oh yeah,
stuff like that?
yep. I've done bachelorette parties. I've done birthday parties. Yeah, lots of one-on-one private sessions because I feel like some people feel they need like just me and them, and want that kind of like, how do I move? Critique and like show them what they should be feeling, what they're doing, just face to face with nobody else around, and that's totally fine. I encourage that, whatever's going to make you feel more comfortable. So the one-on-ones are always great. I've even done one-on-ones where I help choreograph private dances for like their partner when they do like get married and that kind of stuff. That was great. So just like to feel sexy and like
Feel sexy.
Yeah, totally. Those are great. I really like those ones.
Okay. And I know we talked a little bit about maybe some songs that people can start out with when they're thinking of getting into the twerk culture that you use maybe in your classes or that you align with that kind of can get you to
funny that you said
embrace the jiggle a little bit.
Because right now we're doing this new one that I saw. It's Booty by Saucy Santana.
I don't know that one.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So we just slay, and it has kind of this like Beyonce homecoming vibes in it, and it's fun. That one's like a new favorite, and we're doing that in class. Another favorite that we've done, did choreography 2 years ago, is Peach. By Partisan Fontaine. He's Megan Thee Stallion's Boo Thang. And that one's really fun. And then like anything Cardi or Megan is usually good. Like I love Up. That's a fun one to twerk to. Oh yeah, Cardi B's Up is good.
I probably heard it. I probably would have to hear the song and then I would know it.
Yeah, you would. And then like classic like Yin Yang Twins, Salt Shaker.
Oh yeah, they're
that's the go-to.
Concert.
Look, I saw that too. I was like, I gotta go. Because like you cannot not twerk to Yin Yang Twins, even if you don't know how. You're trying to shake your butt when they come
old
on.
School stuff. I think about like Juvenile stuff like that.
Look, back that ass up. They started it, right?
Yes, they
like
did start
it. They gave us permission to be like, yes, shake it. We want to see it.
Yes.
So that is very encouraged when we do a twerkle in my class. I like to throw the old schools that people know. So when we do a twerkle, so it's like at the end, everybody does a circle. They come in and kind of like dance their favorite move that they learned in class maybe, or one that they like aren't doing very well in their heads. Nice. I'm like, no, come and do it in the middle of the twerkle because everybody's just encouraging and cheering you on. It's such a fun like vibe. I feel like people come to class just for the end when they can do the twerkle because that's like their favorite part.
And I know that you call, like, what do you call the people that attend your classes?
Oh, they're twerkettes.
Twerkette. Did you make that up?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was like,
so there's your twerkettes.
It just became a thing.
I love it.
Official twerkettes. Once you come and take the class, you're a twerkette, period.
So how long has it been since you created the program?
Oh man, this was pre-pandemic. So I want to say it was like the end of 2018, beginning 2019, because it was maybe a year and then everything shut down. It had built up, and so it was like getting really good momentum and then shut down. So I had taken it online, and that was really fun to kind of have a different experience and reach out to people outside of the Pacific Northwest. So that was cool.
Yes.
And then slowly came back to in person. So I don't have online now, but working on getting back, I think, into the online thing.
And when you do, you'll let us know.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, because I didn't realize people really enjoyed it that much. There are people that come to my class now that they were taking it online first. Like that's where they first found me, was online, and they were taking the classes, and they, we'll teach a throwback routine, and they're like, oh my gosh, I did this one, at home, and I've been wanting to do this in person.
And now they know how to do it.
And now they know how to, you know what I mean? So it's so cool to kind of see that translation through like social media to in person. And it's been great.
Okay. And where are you teaching classes at currently right now?
So currently I'm teaching at VMAC, Vitalidad Movement Art Center, and that's in Southeast Portland, their Studio E. And then I was teaching at Slay Studios in Tigard on Tuesdays, but that one's going to probably move to the Northeast side.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So premiere, y'all first heard it here.
Okay. Well, we're on the northeast side of here.
So I'm actually adding a class at Me Fitness Studio off of MLK in Northeast Portland.
Wonderful.
Thursday evenings. So I'll have a Wednesday evening in Southeast, Thursday evening in Northeast.
Okay, I'm glad you're coming over to this side.
Yeah, it's just like everybody wants to twerk a little bit more over here, I feel like. When you're on the west side, it's a little far for some people. And so, just the dance culture in general, I think more in the Portland area is different. Yeah. It's really the adult dance classes are really out here. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to bring it out here because I keep getting asked, like, add more classes. So
absolutely,
I'm going to be adding one.
I'm glad you're doing that. And I think that a lot of people are going to be interested in the one-on-ones.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and I think the what you were saying about the online classes, people that are starting out and shy maybe and don't want to be seen right away probably feel more comfortable doing like an online class.
Oh, yeah.
To start.
That's where people usually, when I had that's where they started, even when I was doing both. So I was doing online and in person, and I still had people that preferred to just be online at first. Yeah. And then eventually came in person. Mm-hmm. And then, the one-on-ones. That was always a popular thing, too.
Well, you're changing the movement.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Absolutely. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, thank you. Because, it's just like, you don't really see, people like me all the time in these kinds of classes, in those dance classes. And so it's nice to see people like me in those classes. And then people who don't have no booty coming in twerking it. Like I always tell people, like, all booties matter. Like, bring all the booties.
All booties matter.
Like stiff booties, jiggly booties.
I'm going to put all booties matter.
All booties
and
matter.
Embrace the jiggle. Those are the words of Nisi right here.
Thank you.
If people want to get a hold of you online, what are your social media handles and your website?
Yeah, so it's Twerk N Fab, so TWERK, the letter N FAB .com. That's the same handle for my IG is Twerk N Fab. And then same thing with Facebook. You can find me Twerk N Fab. Funny thing is, sometimes if you look at Twerk and Fit, that will still come up because that was my original name, but couldn't trademark that, so it's Twerk N Fab.
Okay, but it'll still connect to your
It'll still connect though.
Okay.
So yeah, even if you come across it, it's still me.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have any advice for the listeners today that are maybe just a little intimidated or maybe a little bit shy about trying something different with body movement, and maybe some advice you can give?
Yeah, I would say to give yourself permission to be in your body. Like, you really have to first give yourself permission, I think, and then it just kind of flows through you after that when you just let go. I think as women especially, like, we hold so much in our just core center, in our pelvic floor and all of that, and we just don't breathe into it, And once you allow permission, it just kind of lets you just kind of let go and you open up to it, and then you find that you can fill now those spaces that you've opened up with just something positive. And I think when you find that, you start to find joy in your body.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was really beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for, what's happening on the east side here.
Yeah.
And for, your future endeavors. So thank you for coming on
Yeah,
today.
thank you so much.
And I just want to remind everybody with the Panda Bear Magic podcast, please check in with people. Reach out to somebody that you haven't talked to in a while and just check in with them to see how they're doing, because you don't know how people are all the time, and sometimes people just need a phone call, a text, just to be reminded that they're loved and heard and understood. So thank you for listening today, and please check out our guest, twerkandfab.com, and reach out to her and check out her classes. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Panda Bear Magic podcast. A small reminder, please reach out to a loved one, because you never know what someone is going through. Many blessings.